Are we live? We're
Hello,
live.
hello, welcome to We Don't Know How We Already Got Comments Before We Went Live. No, this
That was
happened
really
last
weird.
time. No, so basically what happens, I think, is you go when we are waiting, like it shows waiting, and people can join like a waiting
I
thing or
see.
whatever, and you can comment. So yeah.
It was trippy.
Hi everybody, it's good to see you. Welcome to VO Journey Academy Live. My name is Anthony.
I'm Gabby.
And we are voice actors. Today it is the 11th of February. We only have a few more days until Valentine's Day.
Singles Awareness Day. Yes.
That what did you say? Singles Awareness Day?
Yes, Singles Awareness Day.
I was going this morning. I was just like, okay, trying to get every year. I rack my brain because in the past I've always done things like, of course, just the general things like jewelry, something right for my wife and everything.
Flowers.
Right, flowers, all that kind of stuff. But I know this is so bad, but maybe there's only like we love candy.
Okay.
And like variety, you know what I mean? Like varieties of candy, like special candies and stuff, and like and they make some really cool, like different candy like bundles and stuff. So anyway,
The European stuff is great.
like some specific and they're expensive, but
yeah.
it's fun. It's fun. So we're gonna have some of that for the weekend. Anywho, if you guys are just joining us, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment. We love to hear from you.
Yeah.
We are sponsored by VO Journey Academy, where we're both educators there, and we like to talk about stuff that helps people in voiceover, right? And today specifically, we're going to talk about how do you say it? Why don't you tell us, Gabby, what we're talking about?
Basically, how to add a new skill to your voiceover repertoire without derailing your prime objectives, because that can be hard. That can be hard, especially if you're like me, because like there's sort of an all or nothing, like when I dive into something, I dive into something and it's tough.
No, absolutely. And I love this topic because I like you, I know you are too, but I'm a lifelong learner. I love to learn and to continue to learn new things, and it can at times though derail me, like you said, from my prime objective sometimes where I'm doing things, it's kind of like that squirrel, where it goes. So we're kind of thinking about, like, perfect example. I want to learn Spanish. And I'm like, I want to learn Spanish, and that's wonderful. I do, and I want to learn every language. I mean, if I could speak every language, I'd be happy as a clam. But I'm going to start with Spanish, and you can get carried away in doing something and going down that rabbit hole and researching and everything to where you all of a sudden look up and you've spent hours upon hours. You have no more time left to get anything else done. That's right. Hola. Yes. Sí, buenos dias. I'm learning buenos dias. It's not buenos noches. It's buenos dias. It's in the afternoon. It's kind of 12. It's most people are in the morning, right? So yes. But I find that this is very, very important for us. So first thing I want to say is, before you go about, this is my opinion, before you go about doing something and learning a skill, we first need to identify, or learning a new skill, in my opinion, we need to identify the 1 to 3 things you must do regardless of anything else from a business standpoint. Right? I'm a big advocate for this, right? Because there are 1 to 3 things, in my opinion, that you must do every single day or on a regular basis in order for you to be successful. And you've got to figure that out. Primarily, a lot of it for us is auditioning, right? Or finding the auditions, right? Finding those places, or putting up profiles. Okay, going to class. Going to your class. There's the specific things you have to do. What do you think about that, Gabby?
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
love
mean,
our conversations, by the way, over in the chat.
I'm watching the comments and they're so funny. Yeah, it's scheduling, it is time management, it is figuring out a way to incorporate that new thing. You know, it takes a bit of juggling, it takes a bit of shuffling, but it also takes consistency.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. So what do you, sorry, people are like, I think it, okay, forgive my spelling. I believe it muy bien. Muy bien, catfish. E2? See, I'm learning.
That's French.
Yeah, no, E2 is not French. It's and Spanish.
Oh, it is. That's right.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I will, like, for
Mm.
example, pardon, right, which is excuse
Mhm.
me in Spanish, but also like pardon, like it's a
Yeah.
French, right? Like well, a lot of it,
It's
right?
in
Of course,
the
most of our language
accent.
is Latin
It's
based,
all in
right?
the accent.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's true.
Mhm.
So I've been using Duolingo. So speaking about like a skill, like when you learn a skill,
Mhm.
right? And then to think, how do you learn a skill? Now, I really like Duolingo. We probably should have. I just silliness probably should have done this one on learning a language because Anthony's learning a language,
Oh,
a
it's
new
tough.
language.
Yeah.
Do you know any different? Do you speak Italian?
A little bit.
Oh,
A little bit. I understand more than I speak, but I speak like a like a child, I mean, it's very rough, but yeah.
I feel like I'm so ashamed because I'm Italian. I'm primarily Italian, and I don't speak any Italian at all because my father never spoke Italian in front of me, like to me, and my grandmother
Yeah.
did, but my parents had separated, and I haven't spent any time with that side of the family, so I'm like no Italian, and it bothers me so much.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like for me, it was because my mother is Sicilian, my dad's American. My mom didn't want to, I guess, exclude my dad from the conversation. So when I was super little and it would have been the easiest time for me to learn it, they didn't really, she didn't speak it in the house. And then when I was older, it was just so much harder to pick up. But my pronunciation is phenomenal, but the rest is just whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, periodically I'll go in to different resources, Duolingo being one of them, and try to pick up some new phrases or new things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited about it. I think that the most important thing I gather for learning a language, is you have to speak it. I mean, we all took language in high school, right? Like I took 3-4 years
Most
of
people.
Spanish,
Yep.
and all I can remember, I mean, besides general greetings, was like, where's the bathroom?
Yeah.
Like Donde
Yeah.
está el baño?
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom?
Yeah.
But I am definitely, but like it was funny yesterday. I was with my daughter. I was like, what was it? I don't know. I would say like, what was it? Yo, yo, yo bebo agua. I'm gonna butcher it. Like I drink water, something like that. Like just simple like things. I'm like trying to
Right.
like these. But the point is though, I think for this is scheduling is extremely important when you want to learn a new skill. So how can that help? I think that one thing you can do, all right, is join a place with a schedule. So that's one thing I like.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, at VO Journey Academy, we have a very specific schedule. And I think we do that. We publish a schedule every week, every month, so that you know exactly where it is so you can plan. I mean, so a lot of this is, what do you think? Scheduling?
I think that's the starting point. I think it's scheduling and it's expectation setting, right? And they go hand in hand because it can be you can kind of get lost or get frustrated. And if you set those more bite-sized goals and scheduling moments, I think that makes it a lot more reasonable.
Yeah, no doubt. So, what is a skill? Let's talk about a skill in voiceover that took you a while to learn. What was a skill that took
Oh
you a
man.
while to learn in voiceover? Was it a specific acting skill? Was it a technical skill? A business skill?
Let me think on that for a second. I mean, definitely. I think there were probably you know, editing skills that were different than the way I had been taught. And coming out of a broadcasting background, that I had to kind of relax some of the styles and be a little bit more precise with editing. So that took time to develop, because you have to develop your ear. That doesn't happen overnight either. It's like musicality, right? It's even with learning a language, it's that same thing. You have to be able to hear differently than you do on your day to day. And so, yeah, that definitely took time. There's always a learning curve with marketing, of course. That took time. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one of the things that surprisingly took a lot of time for me most was my reading out loud skills. And
Mm,
it's funny because, as voice actors, that's what we do. We read
yeah.
out loud.
Yeah.
But it
It's
was
a problem
more,
for a lot of people.
it's more from taking from the page to speaking it and in a manner which was fluent, which sounded relaxed,
Yeah.
sounded like they were my words. It took me a while and a lot of practice, which makes me think about why I think doing even short audiobooks and long form narration is very beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing more, not necessarily like if you're like commercial voice actor, ride or die. I mean, that's totally awesome. But I think that it's hard sometimes for me to get enough work in with short scripts to where you can be comfortable, like getting more
Yeah.
comfortable just talking. So like I struggled early on with this microphone, like
Mm,
just being comfortable to talk in front of a microphone, which
yeah.
is even at the time I was like, this is so silly. I was out of breath. Like I got out of breath. Did you ever
Mm,
did you ever when you were first starting ever like just talking you were out of breath?
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's because I didn't have good breath control. I was racing through the words. I was going too fast. I wasn't focusing enough on the meaning behind the words. I was too focused on trying to say everything perfectly and not giving post-production enough credit. There was a lot of
Mhm.
that.
And so I mean that was that I mean I would just be like, why am I out of breath while I'm narrating? Like
Mhm.
I'm sitting down. it
Yeah.
was it was wild. And I think as time went on, everything just realized so much of it had to do with just me being comfortable reading
Mm.
out loud, and also not and also being able to read enough ahead.
Yeah.
So I'd say, like, depending on where you are, and it's funny because a lot of us don't talk about it. um if you're having that challenge, because either like you're my wife who is just like I mean reads so like read so much that just, and probably like you, Gabby, as you said,
A
where
little
it's like
bit.
when you speak, it doesn't like there's no issue clearly reading out loud because you're just so used to reading. I was not like that at all. It's funny because
Mm.
even though I was an actor and a performer, and I memorized, I mean, so I mean, I memorized my 1 hour show where it was just me for an hour on a stage.
Right.
I it still was a memorization thing tied to actions and movements practiced over
Yeah.
time, right? But I was not, when it comes to speech, like speech or speaking right in front of other people too with script. Now
Mhm.
that was nothing. Even teaching, like I was a teacher, all right? So I would get up and talk every single day, but it wasn't scripted. There was just
Right.
maybe there was topics, kind of like we do here, right? We have a
Yeah.
topic and we talk. We
Mhm.
improv through
Mhm.
these topics. So that was extremely important to me to figure out why that was happening and what I could do in order to do that. So to put it all together, I was like, I didn't want to spend a bunch of time reading and not doing, like, just reading out loud somewhere and not recording or anything. So I chose to combine a bunch of things and fumble through it through ACX. There's some good questions here,
Is
right? Because I think so. Ben's like, um any techniques on slowing down reads?
sure.
What do you think, Gabby?
Well, I think first off, Ben, I think there's something to be said for, what's the medium? You know what I mean? What's the application? Because that makes a big difference in terms of the type of natural pacing you want to emulate. Um, for the most part, though, and this is silly and it's kind of funny, but it's something I've told people to do forever. I'm like, look, hit record, read for a little bit, walk away. Walk away. Leave the mic on. Leave the recording going. Go take a lap around the house, come back. Right? Yeah. There's something to be said about just the stopping, right? Sometimes it's even just stopping at a period and turn yourself around in your booth, do like a little hokey pokey and start again. Because you're training yourself that it's not a live activity. It's not a free flowing, right? You can stop, you can breathe, you can pace yourself. It's okay. A lot of people, it's like a weird, like the mic triggers this thing in our brain where we go, oh my God, there's a microphone in front of me, so I have to keep talking. Right? Like it creates an imaginary pressure that isn't there. You don't have to keep talking. You can just stop. You can pause, otherwise you're letting the mic kind of rule that and create some kind of unnecessary idea in your mind that, yeah.
That's a really good point. We were doing this last night in class and Voice Acting 101. We were doing some dialogue work and using one of my favorite, well, I had put a bunch of excerpts from different stories from Sherlock Holmes, which is one of my favorite detectives. And the interesting part was people were, because it's, it was written in, the 1800s and the style of writing, right, is not something that we're, of course, any classic literature typically is not what we're used to.
Yeah, it's very different. Right.
And I find that it's actually a fantastic way to working through being able to speak words out loud in a good pace, because it forces you to really think about, how am I saying this? Does this flow okay? Do I take breaths? So part of this, what you were saying it's like people saying it's okay to take a pause. Like, we're so concerned with, I think we talk fast, I talk fast, we talk fast as Americans. But a lot of times, we were afraid to not have, like the airwaves quiet for a moment, like silence. Pauses can be good.
They can. Something we were taught to pay attention to back in the days of broadcasting was that, and Howard Stern, he still is, he's kind of the master of this, is that he would just stop. He would just have this like wild like pause in his show, and people would, ironically, instead of it having the effect people thought, especially for the broadcasters, right, that like, oh my God, the audience is going to disappear. No, it did the opposite. The audience would lean in because they were like, wait, what happened? Where'd he go? And then strategically, the next thing out of his mouth would be something he wanted everyone to hear. And usually it was a sponsorship. Yeah. It was very, very strategic. He was very good at that. He still is. So, excuse me, Ben did say that he's talking about commercials. And with slowing down in commercials, Ben, the challenge becomes, does the copy support it? Because if the copy is trying to cram 10 pounds of shit into a 5-pound bag, it's not going to work, right? So there isn't a way to slow down. You have to keep up that crazy pace. But if the script is airy, if the script is written right from that place of give it breath, give it room for people to absorb the message, then yes, it really is just stopping, every comma if necessary, every piece of punctuation. Give yourself a bit of a pause, give yourself a bit of a break, and use that to continue that rhythm. Like some of us used to actually count where, if it was a period or a comma, we would snap our fingers once, and that represented the pause. If it was a semicolon, if it was an exclamation mark, it might be, and then we'd start talking again. If it was a question, if it was an ellipses, if it was a colon, and then we'd start reading again, just to kind of pace it out more. And again, you can always adjust those things in editing, but as we know, if you're not leaving enough space, it can be hard to add. Yeah, you can always remove it.
Yeah, and it's commercial to me is always it's a challenge too, because when you submit, especially like, so remember, auditioning, demos, final product, they're all going to be different, especially
Yeah.
spacing, right? Because when especially for most commercial work, it's going to be to some sort of video, and the video background music effects fills in a lot of places, and you're narrating those images that the audience has seen. So there's going to be pauses and breaks that make complete sense. However, when you're narrating with none of that, right, it can feel very strange, and it can even sound strange sometimes.
That's totally accurate. And that's one of the first things that I prompt people to look at when they're dealing with a commercial script. Is it audio only, or is there video? Because video changes everything. And if there's video, you're not the star.
Right.
You really are not the one in control in that moment. The video takes center stage. Those visuals are what the attention needs to be on. So sometimes the narration being a bit slower, a bit more reserved, right, can really aid that process instead of taking away from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great questions there. I think we could probably talk maybe more about that.
Oh, for sure. We can talk about breath control. We can talk about, there's so many different things we can address.
Yeah. Well, let's plan on tackling that tomorrow and stuff. Hey, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, check out we're doing some really exciting things, of course, in VO Journey Academy as well as Academy Voices. And we'd love to have you. So check that out. We got 50% off to give us a shot. So hopefully we'll see you there. All right. You guys have a wonderful day.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Adios.
Bye.
Adios. Bye.